So today, or actually tonight, because it's Saturday night here and I'm going to go to bed, I'm going to talk about Brad Crouch and Tom Rockliff. Now, if you asked me about these players 2 weeks ago, I would have said, hell no, I'm not touching either of these guys. But they've made one hell of a case in the past 2 weeks. Well, mainly Rockliff in his second JLT game. Usually I'm fully against injury-prone players. Mostly injury-prone premiums because, for example, I won't pick Nat Fyfe. As good as he is, and he plays North in round 1, he's going to annihilate them as he always does. But he generally hurts us later down the track. So that's why I'm not going to pick Nat Fyfe. I can understand why you'll pick him, but not for me this year. But when players are a lot cheaper, then their price can sort of justify their risk. You can make an argument for it to pick them. And that's Rockliff and Brad Crouch at 400,000. So I'll talk about them today individually. But yeah, you don't want to miss out on a value pick. If you missed out on Canelio last year, 108 average for 450k, that would have hurt you a lot, not having him, especially when a lot of people had Dusty, who was 200,000 more and scored 4 points less. So lucky I had Canelio last year, otherwise I wouldn't have done as well as I did. So you win some, you lose some, I guess, but this year I think it's going to be a lot harder to pick that guy, the value picks, this year. Well, yeah, it's going to be harder to pick the value picks this year. So I'm going to start off talking about Tom Rockliff and just go through a timeline here. So we'll start off with his preseason. So his preseason has been okay. From what I've read, he's been in full training since mid-January, about 7 weeks. So that's okay. Not obviously you want a bit more than that, but he did have another shoulder surgery. This time he said it was more intensive, so hopefully that fixed his shoulder a bit more. But he said he feels good, which is a good sign, I guess. A lot better than last year. Last year his preseason was awful. And so I think his preseason's been passable. Not fantastic, but you give it a pass. In JLT 1 he scored, I didn't watch the showdown, which is weird because I'm a Crow supporter, but he scored 49 from 60% game time. I'm not sure what happened here. Maybe he was just cruising JLT 1. More rotations in. Maybe he didn't care. I don't know. But that wasn't very good. But his second game showed what he's capable of. And if he averages 105, 110, that's a huge win. But there's always that chance he misses games. But I think, while it was the Rockliff of, I think it was 2014, which is a long time ago now, he's always shown signs of being able to score like this over the past 4 years, but things have just gotten in the way. He's been moved forward, and ever since that shoulder, he hasn't been the same. It looks like he's over that. I'm not sure for certain, but he looked fine to me. One interesting thing was he only laid 1 tackle for the game in JLT 2. Just 1 tackle, so that's not a lot, but he had 29 kicks. And the way he played today, JLT 2, he basically got a lot of the ball around the ground. So up forward, down back, he took a few marks, just everywhere along the ground. So he usually is more of an inside ball, but he did that today, but it was more of an uncontested game today, so it showed off his aerobic capacity. So I'm considering Rockliff. I prefer him to Brad Crouch. I think his ceiling's a bit higher. But yeah, one to consider. Somebody I wrote off, but you can consider him. So don't mind Tom Rockliff, but probably, I'm not sure if I'm going to pick him. It'd be M5 or M6. Ideally M6, but probably not going to happen. So we're going to wait and see on Tom Rockliff, but I think he's a chance to be in my team. Unlikely, but a chance. So now I'll talk about Brad Crouch. And I love Brad Crouch, the footballer. Super talented player. He was always considered the more talented brother to Matt Crouch. But unfortunately, injury has kind of hindered his natural progression. So Matt sort of passed him. I think his talent can't be denied. It's always been there. But because of his injuries, it's really hard to consider him. And even when, I don't think he had a full preseason in 2017, but even then, like, I'm just looking at the numbers, and a lot of 70s, a lot of 80s, that sort of thing, a 50s score as well. I'm not sure there's enough proof of consistency, given he's had a okay preseason. He's been building for a long time, but he hasn't been able to do a full preseason. So I think he'll be better. He should be better next year if all goes well. But yeah, he has had so much time to prepare his body, so you'd expect him to be in reasonably good nick. But I'm not sure there's enough evidence of his consistency just yet. But yeah, he has the talent to produce a 110 year, 1 day, 1 year. Realistically, I think all things going really well, which isn't a guarantee, I would expect 105-ish from Brad Crouch. I'm only speculating and guessing, but that's just based on the fact he hasn't had a full preseason, an okay preseason, but he hasn't had a full one. And yeah, he's just been out of the game for so long. So yeah, his injury history can't be denied. 2 full years out isn't good. So yeah, I think he looks to be over his groin and foot issues. So that's that. But yeah, I'm kind of on the fence. Not really on the fence. I'm more against Brad Crouch, to be honest. Especially he does share the buys with Cornelio, Cripps, Matt Crouch, who is a lock in my opinion, and I'm gonna fix that. And who's the other one? Cornelio, Cripps, Matt Crouch, Sloan. Yeah, those guys. So he shares the buys with those. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's all I want to say on that. I prefer Rockliff slightly, but both are huge risks. Maybe a bit too much risk for my liking, but risk reward with the price point. So yeah, anyway, that's all from me. I'll have a JLT2 team update when JLT2 is finished, and still a few more videos to come before the season starts. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. I'm going to sleep now.